The Supreme Court has ruled that Obamacare in its entirety is constitutional. That this is not a mandate. This is a tax, which makes this much worse. This is a tax. So, in other words, let me tell you what's happening over in the Middle East right now. Right now, and this is something that has been around for a long time, if you are not a Muslim, you have a right to be a Muslim. You can be a Muslim or a non-Muslim. Don't worry about it. You want to be a Christian? Be a Christian. Mm-hmm. You have to just pay an extra tax. You have to pay an Islam tax.
Yeah, it's not a mandate. You don't have to be Muslim. Pay them the tax and you cannot be.
Right.
Or if you don't pay the tax, we'll just cut your head off.
Right. That's literally it. Mm-hmm. If Mayor Bloomberg decides that he is going to, if he wants you to work out 5 days a week, 3 days a week, 1 day a week, you got to work out. Otherwise, you're costing the city too much. Got to work out. Don't go to the gym. Don't show up. We can tax you. Don't worry. You don't have to. You don't have to go work out, but we're going to have you pay a tax. They can now do that. The reason why? John Roberts. Mm-hmm. John Roberts. The Supreme Court, Kennedy said it's holy. The whole thing is unconstitutional and should be thrown out. Roberts is the one who says, no. Nope. It's a tax. It's a tax. Now, let me tell you something. I want to talk to you about paying for the mistakes of the past. This decision we bought in 2000. In the year 2000, we went and we voted for George W. Bush. In the 1980s, we lined up to vote for George H.W. Bush. Both of them, progressives, globalists. Both of them. They had their good parts. Dad had not so good parts. W had some real problems. But the guy who, remember, ran the smear campaign against Sarah Palin, the Republican, the one that was John McCain's good friend, and ran the smear campaign against Sarah Palin, he's the guy who shepherded into the office of George W. Bush, John Roberts. Progressives. Now, we as business people, we as Americans, we as people who care about health, care about doctors, medicine, we have a choice. Now, our choice at this point is Mitt Romney. And that's why I've said when the election, I mean, November 6th is important. November 7th is more important. When this election happens, you can't sit down again. Because we're going to have to watch Mitt Romney. Because Mitt Romney's not. He's not Rand Paul. Wish he was, but he's not. But I'll tell you this. He's not a communist. He's not a Marxist. He's not an anti-colonialist. He's not a guy who was raised by radicals. He's not a guy who's going to go out and read Saul Alinsky and then go teach it at college. He's not that guy. He doesn't hate the capitalist system. He's not my guy. But I'll tell you, I'll take that guy every minute of every day for the rest of my life over this guy. Because one will destroy us. One will intentionally destroy us. The other may destroy us because we are now paying for the mistakes of the past. John Roberts, we bought this decision in 2000. But we didn't know in 2000. So this isn't a new problem. This is part of our old problem. And I really, truly believe there is no such thing as a bad event. There might be tragic events, might be painful events, but there is nothing bad. It's what you do with it. I think this decision has just sealed the election in November. Were you thinking about giving to Mitt Romney? Were you thinking about giving to Free Pack? Were you thinking about giving to Freedom Works? Were you thinking about going out and volunteering? You might have been thinking about all those things. How close are you to signing up if you haven't already today? How close are you to writing a check today if you haven't already today? When I told you that there is a global freedom movement and we have to stand together, and people are coming from all over the world to stand here in Dallas, Texas, with people who I truly believe get the libertarian ideas. But they also understand Saul Alinsky. If you got nothing, demand 100%. And if you can compromise on 30, you're 30% ahead. You've got to move forward. I talked to somebody yesterday who finally, thank the Lord in heaven, gets it. Talked to a guy yesterday who actually has the power to do things, the power and the resources and the connections to actually move things forward. I'm talking to him and said, look, you've got to go back in and reinfect the system. You've got to do what they did in reverse. We're standing here like we're the majority, that we're the culture. We're not the culture. We're just the majority. But we're not the culture because we've sat down. Because we have listened to the liars. We have listened to the deceivers. We have wanted to believe those lies. Do you know why our school system is falling apart? Because we have listened to the lies of the labor unions. Do you want to know why we can't pay our teachers? Why we can't pay our cops and our firemen their not only their salaries, but their pensions? Because they were never intended to be paid out. They were never intended to be paid out. Anyone with an abacus can figure that out. You do the math on it, and there's no way to pay those pensions. No way. So what happened? The politicians got into bed with the labor unions so they could get power and more votes, and the labor unions would throw money their way so you could get more people into the labor unions. We are looking at Tammany Hall. We are looking at what the Democrats created in the late 1800s. Corruption that would challenge even Mexico. And we went along with it because it made our life easy. Great. We know the past. We know what we did wrong. This decision is about the past. This decision we made when we elected George W. Bush and he put into place John Roberts. Coward. Weasel. Progressive. Non-constitutionalist. Tell me, John, show the founder, show the writing of any of the founders that would have said, yes, the king can tax you any way he wants. Show that to me. You can't. You can't. This is a blessing.